Shout out to G-Man Boxing.
Alright, people, this news broke in the early hours of this morning. Gervonta Tank Davis has been arrested and held in jail overnight. This was an incident that happened in Florida. He's been charged with battery causing bodily harm in an alleged domestic violence incident. Now, it's alleged, that he struck a woman on her head with a closed hand slap, causing her to suffer a small abrasion to the inside of her upper lip. This is according to police reports. He was arrested and held in jail overnight, charged with causing bodily harm. He has the February 16th, he has an incident which is stemming from a hit and run, which happened back in 2020. So, this on top of that, and obviously this isn't the first time Gervonta Tank Davis has found himself in a spot of bother. Now, he is meant to face Hector Luis Garcia January 7th, which is about a fortnight away. Now, I would imagine that show probably pulled. So, January, which was shaping up to be a pretty decent month, we're PBC wise, we're not getting Charlo versus Zoo. And I think if Showtime want to show consistency, they need to pull this card. And the reason why I say show consistency is the allegations against Tank Davis, which at this minute in time, at the present moment, they are allegations. If we're looking at their track records, about this time last year, I think it was late November, early December, Tank Davis was meant to fight Rolly Ramirez, right? Or Romero. And there was allegations made against Rolly, which were made online, which he was subsequently acquitted of the accusations. Now, because they were going around, Showtime made the decision not to pull the card, because it really was the Tank Davis card. Tank Davis hadn't done anything. So they got rid of Rolly and they put Pitbull in, Isaac Cruz. Now, as it happens, it was a very good fight, very competitive fight. Isaac Cruz really came like a Pitbull, came to win. Now, with this situation, it's similar. Obviously, different allegations, but it's a similar situation. Now, if Showtime want to show consistency, and I think the right decision would be to pull this card. I know it's a Tank Davis card, but I think the right decision would be to just pull it. If this is what's happened in the immediate, 14 days before the fight, essentially, best to just get this card. See you later, because I don't think there's anyone on the undercard who could headline it, to be honest with you. Like I said, when it happened to Rolly, it was really the Tank Davis show. Rolly was the dance partner. There was another dance partner on the undercard, there it was. But with Tank Davis, I mean, where do you even start? Tank Davis has had many, many issues throughout the years. And, when Tank Davis was on the come up, he looked $1 million. If you look at him in 2017, when he won his world title from Pedraza, I think, didn't he win that title? Correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I think he might have won that title on the undercard of Leo Santa Cruz, Carl Frampton 2. You can correct me if I'm wrong with that. Might have been a bit earlier than that, maybe, but I know it was very early in 2017, and he did a great job on Jorge Pedraza. I mean, we haven't seen anyone do that since, and Tank Davis at the time, he would have only been about 22, 23 years old. He was very young. And, from then on, he went in March of that year. He fought Liam Walsh, here in the UK. And, Liam Walsh, I know BT Sport were hyping it up and saying, Liam Walsh is world level. We don't know about Tank. It was like, Liam Walsh was never world level. Come on, get out of here. So we all knew that was going to happen. He got rid of him in 3 rounds. And from then on, I've not really seen any difference. Anything really changed from Tank Davis. He's looked exactly the same since then. If anything, I think he might have even regressed as a fighter. There was worrying signs when he won that title based upon what his promoter at the time, Floyd Mayweather, was saying. Because he won that title, and that was at 130 pounds. At the time, Lomachenko was the man at 130 pounds. And straight away, they were like, we're not fighting Lomachenko. Not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. They were making, I can't remember at the time, but I think they were making like demands of Lomachenko. Oh, if he has to do. It was crazy. As far as I was concerned, you won the IBF title. You're a champion at 130 pounds. Why aren't you fighting Lomachenko? Lomachenko's calling for the fight. Why aren't you fighting him? And I guess that's a precursor to what's happened, because obviously with Tank Davis, he's not fought. I mean, his best win, I mean, you could argue, is it Pitbull? Pitbull's not a bad fighter, but he's not at that level. And Leo Santa Cruz, there was two best wins. Leo Santa Cruz, his best days were probably at 122 pounds, maybe even 118 pounds. And by then he'd seen better days. And even then, he was winning that fight against Tank Davis until he got caught in the 6th round. But that was always going to come. Tank Davis has looked supremely one-dimensional as of late. Very one-dimensional as of late. I mean, I say as of late, over the last few years, realistically, as I said, since he had that run in 2017, he's not really done anything. He's missed weight for many fights, sometimes as much as 2 and a bit pounds. Shows lack of discipline. He's had yelling matches with his promoter Floyd Mayweather. He's had other incidents at events, the hit and run, etc. It's just a mess with Tank Davis. With everything that's been going on, it's just a mess. And people could turn around and say, look where the background he's come from. At the end of the day, the guy's nearly 30. At some point, you can't, I know that because I know there are people now who are in their 30s who still, I had a rough background, that's why I hit that lad on a night out, and I had a rough, it doesn't fly. When you're in your teens and stuff like that, you could say, okay, look, he doesn't know any better. He's a bit dumb, he's etc., etc., he doesn't know any better, give him a few years. After a few years, it's not okay. I don't have a lot of time for Jordan Peterson, but one thing he said that it did resonate with me is he said that when you're 21, 22, you can be a bit stupid. You can have a laugh, you can do silly things, it's okay. But now you're 28, 29, and it's not okay anymore. What have you done in the immediate time? Well, clearly no growing up. So with Tank Davis, and again, look, these are allegations, but we have to look at the guy's track record over the last few years. And the stuff that's been happening outside the ring has been negatively affecting him inside the ring. We've seen absolutely no progression from him. I think there's still a good fighter in there. But do I think now at this stage, because we've seen him go down, we've almost seen him go down, maybe not quite this bad, but we've seen him go down the Adrian Broner road. It's like these people who get, and it might even be a PBC thing more so than a Floyd thing, because if you look at fighters who've been with PBC for any great length of time, Errol Spence is a good example. You look at Errol Spence when he was on the come up. This was a blue collar fighter. This was a guy who, he really didn't have anything to him in the sense of, he had ability, but it wasn't like he had, Sugar Ray Leonard type speed. It wasn't like he had Thomas Hearn's punching power or the physical strength of Marvin Hagler. He had everything. He was a real complete good, still is a real complete good fighter. And we've seen him come up the hard way. He didn't get a voluntary crack at a title. He had to earn it. He had to fight as a mandatory. He had to earn that shot. He had to go over to Bramall Lane to face Kell Brook. And he'd obviously been fighting with PBC for a while. And after that, it was like that PBC mentality. And I wonder, is it stemming from the fact that Al Heyman, his background was in the music industry. I think he even managed Beyonce Nolan at one point. In fact, I think him and Jay-Z, they might even still have beef. But I think there was beef with him and Jay-Z for a while. They might still be going on. I know when Jay-Z went and tried to do Rock Nation Promotions, which was a boxing outfit, didn't last too long. They had Andre Ward and Guillermo Rigondeaux. I know there was always a little bit of animosity there between, still is probably, and all that jazz. But if you look at the PBC fighters, they tend to be very, how do I say it? Like, the way you see these artists in the music industry who more often than not go off the rails. It's kind of like that with the boxers. Charlos have had their issues. Tank's definitely had his issues. Spence, I mean, as I said, Spence was a blue-collar guy. He went from that to being drunk at press conference and nearly losing his life down to his own, stupidity and wanting to, live it hard, drink alcohol and drive. And as I said, he almost nearly lost his life. How he didn't end up with more severe injuries is a godsend, really is. So, long-winded one there, but Look, it's disappointing what's going on now with Tank Davis and seeing it. Some people would say, I've never been one for tough love. I don't really like it myself, but at some point, the guy is pushing 30. Is there a case of someone just giving him a tap on the head and saying, cop the F on? Because Tank Davis is still talked about. You see it with fans, you see it with, even with like Showtime. They talk about him as someone who's in the early stages of his career. He's been around for years. Years and years and years. He's pushing 30. So I don't know. It's a strange one. I think if Showtime want to show consistency, they should pull this card. They really should. I mean, you go back and look at last year, what they did with Rowley, pulling him out. And I agreed with that, to be honest with you, when they did pull him out. Until we knew all the facts, it was best to do that. Obviously, we got the fight later on. And I think they should just pull this card. If it's okay. I don't think there's anyone on the undercard who could jump in and save it. I believe this was meant to be pay-per-view. And again, there isn't anybody really who's pay-per-view quality, unless Demetrius Andre wants to have his time to shine, which I doubt it. There's no way you can save that card. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. Let me know your thoughts on Tank Davis. What do you do? That's the question. What do you do? Let me know in the comments. Hope you enjoyed the video, people. Smash the like button if you could. Hit subscribe if you haven't already. For now, I'll talk to you. Peace.